The 43rd edition of the Rolex Middle Sea Race started last weekend. Across 7 starts, and to the sound of the saluting batteries firing cannons, an international fleet of 118 yachts commenced one of the world's most revered offshore races, from the Grand Harbour, Valletta. We have the Rolex start video, and from the water Giovanni Soldini reports from his Mod 70 foiling trimaran.
Challenging, alluring, historic. Celebrating its 43rd edition, one of the world's most spectacular offshore yacht races, the Rolex Middle Sea Race. The Grand Harbour in Valletta, Malta, the impressive and striking setting for the start of this famous 606 nautical mile race organised by the Royal Malta Yacht Club. 118 yachts gathered from 24 nations, professional crews lining up alongside Corinthian. First to go, the multi-hulls, including an impressive lineup of 5 former Mod 70 trimarans. Following, a series of starts for different classes. Amongst those on show, Elusive 2, the 2-time overall winner from Malta, confronting a fickle breeze as she exited the harbour. For the watching public, a stunning and colourful spectacle to savour. And finally, to the biggest boats in the fleet, those in the race to be first home and claim line honours. Leading the final group out of the harbour, the 100-foot maxi Leopard 3, a line honours winner back in 2009 and one of the favourites for this year. Ahead for all yachts now, the prospect of an enthralling 606 nautical mile racecourse, taking in an anti-clockwise circumnavigation of Sicily, featuring active volcanoes and wild islands, and finishing back in Malta. With light winds in prospect, a challenging and tactical race lies ahead. Join us for the conclusion of the Rolex Middle Sea Race.
This is your weekly global sailing highlights show, The World on Water, for October 28, 2022. After a quite magnificent launch party, the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team got down to business today with the first tow test runs of their stunning LEQ12, the testing platform for the syndicate's one-build AC75.
Yeah, my name is Orazio Carabelli, I'm design coordinator. Well, for us today was the first day of our LQ12 in the water, so we're pretty happy with the outcome. It was a commissioning day for us, checking all the system, the mechatronics, and a little bit of structure side. But we're pretty happy. We've been working pretty hard the last year in this project, so we're looking forward to go back in the water and sailing. That with the outcome of today will be pretty soon. I mean, for us, it's a choice that we have done about a year ago. And building an LQ12, that the rule is what you're allowed to do to test one of your main areas of development, that it's the appendages. So we have gone in this direction now in order to have our own design and be able to do what we want of something that we have designed ourselves. And we are looking forward really to go back and testing in the full platform with a full sails and rig. So hopefully next week will be a good day and we have a good weather to go out there again.
And are Cyclors back? American Magic was seen testing with Cyclors in Pensacola.
Yeah, Kurt, Jordan, and I'm on the design team, a structural engineer.
Okay, obviously there were some big changes aboard the yacht today. Can you tell us about them?
Well, today and all this week, there's a lot of new things allowed in the rule with software and hardware, and it's a matter of kind of getting those new systems in up to the new rule and just starting the teething process, learning about them, tuning things in, a lot of things like that.
And more specifically, that would be regarding the cyclists that were aboard today?
That's one of the features that we're experimenting with now, and we put them on for the first time today. So, we're just at the beginning of that learning curve.
Okay. In the early testing, did the cyclists meet the power requirements of the yacht?
I don't think we have enough data yet. I haven't looked at any of the data, and it was a little bit of an odd day. We're kind of trying to tune the system, and unfortunately the weather wasn't as good as we thought. It was a pretty cold but good forecast in the morning, and it turned warmer and it was just spotty, so we were in and out of foiling and messing around with the systems a lot of the day. It wasn't nearly as interesting as we were hoping.
So with it being so patchy in the bay today, would you consider going out in the Gulf where it could arguably be flatter and potentially more consistent?
Well, I don't think the wind forecast was any better out on the Gulf, and it's a long tow out there, so there'd be no reason on a day like today to spend that time going all the way out there. More of the breeze was coming off the land, so in here was probably a little better.
Potentially in the future, though?
Oh, of course. When we were here a couple winters ago, we would go outside sometimes, chasing the weather.
Okay. How will the partnership with SRAM benefit the team?
SRAM. Yeah, I've never said. They're a world-class, cycling component company. And, if we head down this path with cyclists, having their technical expertise, it would be fantastic. Anybody would want it.
Okay. Did everything go as well as planned today?
Well, as I said earlier, sailing with the weather, the answer is no. We just, had a lot of boxes to tick, and the weather didn't allow us to do that. But, that's pretty common in this game.
They sailed with 3 jibs today. Do you know if they found that one was helped connect the dots out there better today than another?
No, it's really, some new jibs, or they're old jibs, but, with a little different features, and the whole rig setup is different now. The rule doesn't allow runners, so it all sets up differently. So the putting the other jibs on is like checking strop lengths and things like that. We put small jibs on today to check strop lengths that you would never sail with in this line of wind. It's just kind of ticking boxes of sail fit and things like that.
Great. Thank you very much.
The Essential Imoca primer for the upcoming edition of the Ocean Race, which starts on January 15, 2023. For the first time, we compare 5 cutting-edge foiling Imoca boats in the Ocean Race Imoca fleet. Design, performance, comfort and foils, nothing escapes Niall's expert eye.
So we're a few months away from the start of the 14th edition of the Ocean Race, so we thought we would come down to Lorient. And we've got 5 of our Imoca teams competing right now on the water, and everybody is waiting to see who's built the fast boat, who knows how to sail it, and who's got work to do. Hopefully, when these teams get back ashore, we're going to get a chance for a closer look. There's a reason why this is the place where you find 5 of our Imoca teams lining up to do the next Ocean Race. This is Le Bas, Lorient. This is the place that is steeped in history, with a deep connection to the Ocean Race as well. This is where you can find Frank Camas, the person who, of course, world famous for all his exploits in speed and ocean sailing, but won the race back with Groupama in 2011-12. It's also where you can find Eric Tabarly.
Eric Tabarly, the greatest name in French yachting, takes the tiller himself.
This is Penduic 6. This was the boat that was built 1973 for that very first Whitbread race. It actually did the race twice, and it did the race with a depleted uranium keel that was outside the rules, but just pushing the bounds of what people thought were possible in terms of materials and designs and everything. And we're here in this shed in Le Bas, just 4 or 5 meters from Team Malezia's base, where they built and launched their state-of-the-art carbon fiber foiling Imoca 60. So you've got the very beginning of the Whitbread, of the Ocean Race, and you've got what the Ocean Race is now. But it did take an awfully long time to get from this to that. Nowadays, the steps, the leaps, they go by in a blink of an eye. So this is what the boats of today look like. So we've got 5 of the Imocas that are going to be racing in the 14th edition of the Ocean Race. 3 of them are over here on this pontoon. We've got Biotherm, we've got Team Milizia, we've got 11th Hour Racing Team. So here is Biotherm. This is Paul Meillard's boat. It's made in Italy. It's a Verdier design. Biotherm has been made for 2 races. We've got the Ocean Race, we've got the Vendée Globe, and it's going to be racing fully crewed, but it's also going to be raced solo. So it's kind of got a foot in either camp, trying to make both of those things work. This is one of the few boats that is of the newer generation that is open at the back. Everything is being done from the safety of the cockpit. These boats are designed to be handled from indoors. And then probably the other big thing to point out here and compare with the whole fleet is the shape of this hull. It's a bit of a simplification, but if you're designing a boat to go around the world, the first question you're going to ask yourself is, am I going upwind or am I going downwind? And for this course, for this edition of the Ocean Race, and certainly for the Vendée Globe, on the average, you're going downwind. And that's why we see these boats with really wide, quite flat shapes to be able to surf and plane their way over the waves. The challenge for the Imocas, and it's the big thing that these new designs have been doing over this last iteration, is once you get up on those foils, once you start planing, you skim off one wave, you fly off the foils, and you might go nose down. And if you go nose down, well, at best you're going to slow down, at worst you're going to come to a complete stop. So this is why we start to see those bows getting really full and a lot of volume up the front, just to try and increase that chance of the bow coming down, but then coming back up again with a lot of buoyancy. It's a problem that I think, hand on heart, I'm not sure the sailors would say they've completely solved. The foil is right here. It's just sticking over the pontoon. To design, to build, to install one of these foils, you're talking about 6 months. So everything in here has been decided. There's a purpose for it here. And if you look at the back here, you've got the water coming in over this front edge, that shape critical, that middle section where the flow is really generating all the power, and then that exit point as it comes off, that little fine edge there, you want to make that as small as possible, but too thin, it's just going to snap. Too big, and you're going to get horrible exit off the foil, is going to get so much drag. But if you take a look at it from this angle, you think it's just an aircraft wing. There's actually a lovely little twist in that shape. And all the teams have been going through iterations of foils, if they can afford it, if they have time. But they'll tweak the design as they go and as they go, trying to find that perfect shape that's going to work well in the windy stuff, give them that lift, it's going to give them that righting moment. But in the light winds, it's not going to be the big penalty. If you can solve that, you're off on a winner.
See the full video at theoceanrace.com or youtube.com/e/theoceanrace/videos. Barcelona will see 10 TP52s battling it hour for the final regatta title of the 2022 season at the 52 Super Series Barcelona Sailing Week, as the world's leading Grand Prix monohull circuit celebrates 10 years since the first regatta.
This season, it's going to be another light winds day. It's going to be some waiting on shore.
Are looking to clinch the 2022 title, but have only 5 points in hand over the talented South African team on Phoenix.
They've had a little bit of a break, but they're back with a modern new boat.
2012 is a long time back, but we learned and we're still here. So it shows how much involvement and how much we love this type of event.
We have so much fun. The level is so high, and I wanted to come back. We want to do 4 or 5 regatta with the TP52 this year and next year. You know, for me, the main point is pleasure. If you look, I'm smiling, I'm always smiling on my boats. It's fun, it's so much fun, and I'm happy to compete with these big guys.
So Jean-Luc, the owner of Paprec, has not been with us since Cape Town in February 2020. The same is true for Tina Plattner on Phoenix.
It's definitely fun to be back. I'm a bit ring rusty, I must say. The straight lines are a lot easier than the corners. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be on the boat and enjoying the Super Series again. That's what everyone loves, is that we get to sail with the best of the best. There isn't another sport where we can sail with the Bascos and the Toms and those types of people, you know, whereas all the owners are so involved and so keen and so good, and it's competitive out on the water, and it's really nice and friendly, and everyone gets on ashore, so there isn't anything better than that. I'm loving the city. It's really cool to be. It's my first time here. I'm really loving it, and I'm looking forward to coming back next year.
Well, unfortunately then no racing today. Plan is for 3 races tomorrow. Hopefully the breeze is coming in, but meantime, keeping up the passion.
The relentless commissioning process of the world's first AC40 continues down in Auckland, with the autopilot system being put through its paces in ever more extreme conditions and scenarios.
Dan, thanks for chatting with us this afternoon. End of day 13 with the AC40. It was quite not extreme conditions, but good, strong sailing conditions today with a bit of chop.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and we deliberately headed out into some waves. Just wanted to, see how the boat was handling in waves, looking at the autopilot, looking at manoeuvres in those conditions, and sort of getting up to about 0.6 of a metre wave heights. So yeah, it was really, really pleasing to see the boat going well.
Yeah, definitely. Now we saw you started on the J2. We spent maybe 20 minutes on that and then went to the J3. I think the breeze probably topped out at around the 18 in a puff and probably 14 as an average.
That's about right, yeah.
And there seemed to be, we chose places that were quite steep. Motor Heat Channel for one, that was proper wind against tide there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, deliberately out looking for those conditions. Did
we get, obviously ploughing straight into it, there didn't seem to be any problems. Going across it, was there any, slight cavitation or ventilation?
No, the boat was going pretty well. I think it was, you'd rather be on the yacht than the chase boat on conditions like that. But pretty pleased with how the autopilot's handling it, and we are going to see conditions with decent waves in Barcelona, so we sort of wanted to see how the boat was going.
And on that, well, obviously when we're going into the development phase of the new 75, we don't, Auckland doesn't give us many days of reasonable swell. Will we go looking for those conditions more so to get data? Is that
Yeah, I think we will do. That's right. Barcelona, I think, can see a huge variety of conditions, but certainly it is pretty exposed, and there will be a lot of days with decent waves. So, whereas in the Cup we could always choose bits of water that were relatively protected. The Cup in Auckland last time around. This time we generally would be looking to sail in more open water, sort of out of the islands and sort of north of Waiheke.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah. Hopefully over summer we get some nice northeasterlies with a reasonable swell behind them, and that'll give us the opportunity when it's a bit warmer.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually plenty of days like that. So it'll be a good range of conditions, I think.
And with your second AC40 coming online, as a designer, obviously great tool for match race training, but having two 40s or two LQ 12s,
yeah.
Is that a straw that you're going to use to play that card and do some on the water two boat testing?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely have two boats on the water at times. I think it's really, really good for both design development and sailor training just to have two boats alongside each other. It's not maybe not so much for comparing outright speed one against the other, but just looking at situations, coming off the start line, and just getting used to having two boats on the course. But yeah, one of those boats will be making changes too, and looking at different foils, different sails, and so on.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you very much for your time.
Italians Alex Demurtas and Giovanni Santi win the 29 Eurocup in Riva del Garda ahead of the Irish Van Steenberge and the French Goron-Clochard. Italian podium also in the under-17 and female category, with the silver medal of Mosè Bellomi-Berti and Malika Bellomi-Conti. Next week, with the Halloween Cup Optimus, the 2022 sailing season on Garda Trentino ends. Riva del Garda, TN, perfect conclusion for the final of the 29 Eurocup, the last regatta of the season of the Fraglia Vela Riva, and penultimate on the Alto Garda, which with 3 races held on the last day with north wind and the deserved victory of the home crew, former world-class vice-champion, Demurtas Santi, put the icing on the cake in an event that started with uncertain weather and little wind, then recovered in the last 2 days in which sun, wind and regattas fought. They marked the hours in the water. The event closed with 6 qualifying races and 7 finals, thanks also to the FIV race committee always ready in the windy hours. Also represented the final stage of the Eurocup circuit of this youth class, which is growing year by year. In Riva del Garda, this edition recorded the record of entries with the beautiful number of 150 crews from 19 nations, who colored the waters of Garda Trentino with the wind-swollen Genicas. Satisfaction for the organizing club Fraglia Vela Riva, which managed to place its top crew on the top step of the podium after an initial fight with the French, who succumbed at the end. Alex Demurtas and Giovanni Santi have certainly exploited their knowledge of the place, but they have been able to control their opponents well, extending on the last day of racing, after the absolute parity on Tuesday. The Irishmen Clementine and Nathan Van Steenberge, protagonists of a great recovery, second overall and first among the mixed crews, got ahead of their rivals with the 1st of March 2011, finishing 13 points ahead of the second. Bad day for the Frenchmen Goron-Clochard and Revil Devaux, who did not interpret today's race course, which required great attention with less wind. For them, the worst races of the whole event, which made them slip to 3rd and 4th place respectively. Goron-Clochard, however, confirmed themselves first in the under-17 category, ahead of the Italians Circolo Vela Arco, Bellomi-Berti, 5th overall. 3rd crew under-17 the Poles Sobzak-Krolik. Italy also present in the women's podium, between the 2 Swedish crews placed in 1st and 3rd place with Tea Zeeberg-Cornelia Widestam and Ebba and Ellen Fredriksson, Malika Bellomi, and Beatrice Conti, Circolo Vela Arco, confirmed themselves in 2nd place. The sailing season on Garda Trentino will end next week with the last regatta organized by the Circolo Vela Tour Bowl, which includes a very large participation in the Halloween Cup, an optimist regatta that this year marks another record of participants. A conclusion worthy of a location that offers regattas, wind and organization always in step with the times,